Rare Books USA online sales monthly report, June 2026, which also means we are halfway through the year. One half done, another half to go. 6 more months left in 2026. Hopefully, you guys have been making a lot of progress on your businesses and you guys have been making money. Now, this is going to be an important video today. And if you like book business talk, book reselling talk, vintage books talks, please subscribe to the channel. Please look at my links in the description below. Like and subscribe, do all the things you need to. I have other YouTube channels as well to check out. But if you want to be a part of my ecosystem, please do all those things. Moving forward with Rare Books USA in June 2026. If you're new and you don't know, Rare Books USA's eBay, Etsy, and whatnot stores are subsidiaries of Data Productions Media, which is my main primary YouTube channel that you can check out and subscribe to, where everything is an umbrella approach down. For Rare Books USA, we do earnings report style monthly updates where we track sales, expenses, and future business advancements. Like I like to talk about in my other content that I create, I use Gematria. Gematria is an energetic alphanumerical system, which has played a big role in my business life and personal life in general. And so I always like to christen off these videos with some powerful Gematria that I work with number-wise. Art sells antique and vintage books equals 333 in English ordinal. Very powerful number in Gematria. And book reseller equals 137 in English ordinal, which is the 33rd prime. 33 is a powerful number I also work with. And so with all that being said, before we get into the numbers, the big update I have is I am raising my forward guidance for 2026. This makes me a little nervous, a little excited, a little scared, a little bit of all the emotions. Not because I'm afraid of not hitting the goal. Well, it is part of that, but it's more or less I'm pushing myself even more so now with my raising guidance. I am not staying comfortable in what I do believe I'm going to automatically hit by the end of 2026 of how things are going. I want to push myself. I want to challenge myself, and I want to keep myself motivated. So we are raising our 2026 forward guidance up $5,000 from $70,000 in revenue to $75,000 in revenue for 2026. Again, I might not hit 75,000. I might not hit 70,000, or I might exceed all of it and I might get to 80,000. But for now, how I see my business shaking out and the trajectory for the year, I'm going to raise it $5,000 and I'm going to work hard to make sure we get to that goal. Because remember, the second half of the year means we have Q4, which is October, November, December. And I know those are going to be big months for me. And so as we get into numbers, you'll see why I feel that way. Rare Books USA monthly sales report, June 2026. So I'm going to go through the monthly sales on eBay and Etsy, and then I'll go in through the first half of the year sales for both platforms and where does that put me on a linear guidance base. Okay. So for eBay, from June 1st to June 30th, I made $4,108.62. I sold 110 items. My average sales price was $37.35, which was a 16% rise from the last period, which is nice. Having a 37 ASP in the niche I'm in, really good, and it's only getting higher. And if you want to go deeper, this is what I talked about this is what I noticed about my sales last month and my new philosophy on my book pricing, right? I have been elevating my book inventory in quality and values of what I sell book-wise. I still have, books under $25 but I don't have as many as I did when I first started, which is why I had a lower ASP, because I was getting lower price books, selling lower price books early on. But now those have been filtered out. I still have postcards and ephemera at that prices, but pure books, what I sell most of, man, they're getting higher and higher price. And what's really funny about this average sale price of 37, this is kind of what I was moving towards, and hopefully keeps moving upwards with my pricing schedule for my books. The main books I want to sell, I am pricing them at $55. Okay. But you also have to understand my philosophy, my discount strategy on eBay. I every weekend I discount my store 33% off. Okay. And so I noticed this in my sales last month when I was going through my sold comps. A lot of the books I sell, or a lot of the books I would love to sell, is within that $55 to $37 range, because with 33% off, it's at $37. So a lot of the books I'm selling are those $55 books being sold at that discount, which is okay with me. I do think I'll be able to usurp the $37 average sale price, because I'm finding more books for $100, $150. But it takes a little while for those books to filter out the previous books that were sold. So even though my average managed active listings have grown, it's at 6,500, there's still a lot of work to do, because I'm still getting a better quality book. Right now on eBay, I have 100% positive feedback. 2.3K items sold, 2.3 thousand items sold. I have 243 followers, which really means is, again, which is a statistic that is important to me. Under every 10 sales, which is at this point under every 10 sales, I am gaining a follower. So like every 9.5 orders I fulfill, someone's following my store, which is very important. And I take pride in that. Having that type of metric and seeing it lower is really good. I would love one day to have, every 5 orders I sell, I capture a follower from my store. That might be too rich of a dream, especially in the online e-commerce space, but that's something that I would love to strive for. In regards to Etsy, for the month of June, I had my best month ever on Etsy, and this includes last year's December total on Etsy. So my revenue on Etsy in the middle of summer was $1,118.46. Conversion rate of 2.5%. I had 30 orders, almost had an order a day. Well, it was an order a day when you break it down like that. And so I'm very proud of that. My Etsy store is now officially profitable across all metrics that I use for profitability. And then we're going to talk about that later in this video. And I'm going to make a separate YouTube video for breaking down how to become a profitable Etsy bookseller within a year. I've had 5-star rating on Etsy, 55 ratings right now. I have 1,190 active listings on Etsy. I do have about 100 listings cross-listed from eBay to Etsy. So I still have about 1,100 pure listings on Etsy, uncross listed, which is important because I'm still growing that platform, and having enough listings is how you get to the point where that the business becomes profitable, or the platform becomes profitable. So when you add in the eBay and Etsy June 2026 sales of the 4,108 and the 1,118, that comes out to $5,227.08 for the month of of June, which, all things considered, to be over $5,000 in the middle of summer with me still growing as a seller, I'll take it. I'll love it. I had a record-breaking month on Etsy, so that's something to really look towards, which is amazing. When you look at the stats, the monthly stats below, for June on eBay, this was my worst month of the year. Think about that. I made $4,000 on Etsy. On eBay, I made $4,000 on eBay, and this was significantly my worst performing month. Which, it's okay. That's why you have diversification with these two platforms and other things like that. And obviously, with the summer slowdown, people are traveling and stuff. This is to be expected, and I'm not worried. I'm just staying on path, staying on schedule on what I need to do to get ready for the holiday season. Now, let's look at the half year stats, the 6 month stats. We're at the halfway point. How well have I done this year, and what have I seen, and what has prompted me to believe I can reach 75,000? How I can, get that extra $5,000 on my guidance, right? And so, for the 6 months in eBay up to June, I've made $28,398.87 on eBay. I've sold 826 items. My average sale price is at $34.34. So it's really good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. This is my second full year as a eBay reseller full time. Well, this is my first full year. This is my first full year full time. This is my second full year of being an eBay seller, but first full year, 2026, first full year of being super full time. So almost 28.4 on eBay, then going over to Etsy. And with Etsy, I didn't really start doing the Etsy store until May of last year, right? So this year is the very first full year I will have of Etsy data. But from January to June thus far, I've fulfilled 111 orders and revenue of $3,992.61, almost $4,000 within the first 6 months on Etsy. And this is my secondary platform. So I'm happy about that. And it's really good to see that my revenue is trending above $1,000 a month on Etsy now. That plays a huge role in my goal to $10,000 monthly, just as a reseller. And so everything's looking good right now. Just, it's the summertime, so we're really just focused on listing more. Keep pounding the table, because the listings you put up now are the ones that are going to be bought in Q4 for the holiday season. So, you can't slack now. This is not the time to slack now, and I'm not slacking. List. Find great books, find great inventory. Hold the line during the summer. Get your operations in order. That's how I'm seeing it. And so now going over to linear forward guidance. Now, linear forward guidance is like, if I just stayed on a trend, how would that look at the end of the year, right? For a 12-month period, not accounting for, the huge boost in sales in Q4 that kind of just compound. The linear guidance is just a straightforward line. So the linear guidance, based off what I have done this year thus far, when you add up that I've done $32,391.48 over 2 platforms for the first half of the year, right? You divide that by 6. So each month comes out to that I have done at least, $5,398.58 on a linear basis. Obviously, that, trend's a little different, but overall I'm making almost $5,400 a month, right? So I'm just a little over halfway to my goal of $10,000 a month on a super simple, conservative, linear guidance base. And so if I extrapolate that out to 12 months, that would take me to $64,782.96. Now that leaves me a little over $10,000 to make up in sales the last 6 months of the year. And I'm always asking myself, okay, where am I get that $10,000 from within the 6 months if I continue on the linear guidance? So if I can consistently say that I'm gonna make at least 5,400 a month, where do I get that extra 10 grand over 6 months to get to 75, right? And so that's why I have to continue listing. That's why I would love to see more sales pick up, you know, from July to September. I've actually raised up my promotion ad spend to 15.3%, not because I'm hurting on sales. It's because my ads are getting so efficient and optimized now. When I even had it at 13.7%, it wasn't capturing 13.7% of promotion expenses. Like it was sitting at like 10. So me jumping it up to 15.3, it's only for me trying to capture those sales in competition at that range. I'm really competing well right now with my promo percentage, but I'm just trying to capture everything I can and beat out the people who I can and get their sales. So I did raise up 15.3. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I did that like a couple of days ago. And you know, my ROAS has been really good. It's stabilized and it's actually have gone up. So I do have some space to work with and get the promo up. So you see what that is. I'm linear guidance of $64,782.96. Where the heck am I going to get that other 10 grand from my forward guidance? Just, you know, keep grinding and hope, you know, Q4 is going to be amazing for me, which I think it will. You know, I do 3-day shipping, you know, 3/4 of the year, but when Q4 hits, I'm going to just do 2-day shipping and hopefully I get more sales that way. Now, looking at the income statement, profit and loss for you know, the first 6 months, you know, the net income's looking really good. You know, we're a positive $665.91. It would be over 1,000 right now, but I do have some traveling expenses that I paid up for already up front that they don't matter until August when I'm traveling to San Diego for some sourcing, and just, you know, figuring out what type of thrift stores they'll have in Southern California and hopefully get some really good prices on thrifted products. But, you know, having a positive net income of $665.91 at the halfway point of the year, amazing to me. You know, the operating expenses, automobile expenses, but obviously that's one of my bigger expenses. General expenses, which is pure inventory. When you compare my general expenses from last year to this year at this point, wow, major difference. And you know, travel is a lot more this year because I'm traveling to source more, you know, getting a more different vibe for my store outside of, you know, living in Salt Lake and Utah. You only get a specific certain type of book for the most part, right? And then, you know, balance sheet wise, looking pretty same and similar. The cash is a little less on hand right now because of some of the expenses and payments I paid up front. But on the back end, they will even out. And cash flow, my cash runway, if number of days until you reach zero balance of cash received and spent as projected, it's going to be 8 months. Cash buffer, number of days until you reach zero, if no more cash received, it's a month. So I don't have a huge cash buffer in my business account, but I do have cash buffers and other accounts and other ways that I can inject money into the business if needed. But the goal is to run the business and be self-sufficient as possible. And the way I do that is to continue to make sales, continue to grow revenue on a monthly basis. That's why getting to $10,000 a month of revenue is important to me, because then at that point, it would blanket cover all my normal costs and such like that in my business, in my personal life and everything. So that's the goal. We're a little over halfway there, but I know we're going to be able to get there because we had a $6,000 month last month of May, which was a record breaker.